Boom. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first official, I would say, Comeback Kids City World of Warcraft online show. I am your co-host, NZ Sky.
My name is Lance.
And we're ready to dial in. Listen, let me tell you something. We've been prepping hard for you all, ladies and gentlemen, on a lot of really big stuff coming. We got a lot of segments to go through. We have about roughly 5 different segments to dive into, all with their own, pre-dedicated content ideas and stuff. We're going to wait for some people to get in here, get locked in, get comfortable, whatever the case may be. We're going to take this time to just sit, chill, let everyone welcome in. Hope you're all having a good week so far. Had a lot go on this last week in World of Warcraft. Yeah. Put out a video the other day that's doing very well, and we did some testing on the PTR, a lot of it, and man, let's just say World of Warcraft is heading in a good direction, but there are some controversies out there that we're going to talk about. Isn't that right, Lance?
Oh yeah, we got a lot to talk about. Some good, some bad, but we got to get into it.
We got to get into it. Bernie, what's going on? Static Badgers, Decipher, Alonzo, Max, KE, Senju, Womp, what's going on? Koozie, what is going on? Listen, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys are in chat right now, let's get some ones in the chat, dude. Let's get hyped in the chat. We're getting ready to start our very first segment in just a couple of minutes. I want to make sure everyone's here. We're getting a little bit hyped. Trojan, what's going on, baby? How are we doing? How we doing? Hey, with the 1 in the chat. How we doing? By the way, guys, we do also have the Twitch chat up. If you guys feel more comfortable going over there, or if you want to show some extra love for absolutely free, get on over there on maybe a second tab. It would really help support the channel, get our numbers up. It's all about the average views, right? Reno, what's going on, baby? Koozie with the 1. Thank you, buddy.
Reno,
Thank
I
you.
saw you're at work. Thank you for being here and supporting anyway.
Yeah.
Appreciate
absolutely.
that a ton.
He's got it in the cup holder. Decipher, I'm on both, man. What a chat. Thank you. Appreciate the love. All right, Lance, are you feeling good enough? Feeling ready to dive into, I guess?
Man, I feel good. I think
it might be about that time. Ladies and gentlemen, let's not waste any more time. Let's dive into our very first segment here. All right, it's time for the Weekly Cooldown, your full recap of everything that went down in World of Warcraft this week, from blue posts and patch notes to class changes, leaks, and more. We're breaking it all down for you right now, whether you missed a day or the whole week. Click that Hearthstone and get ready, because this is your reset. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is your first segment. We're going to be pretty much breaking down all the news, all the things happening, going on the very last week in World of Warcraft. Wowhead posts, drama, discussions, things of that nature. Very first up, though, there's some interesting one, I will say. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been waiting for a good minute on an exact date, and we got an official post that 11.5 is releasing April 22nd, which is just a couple weeks away, which, by the way, Lance predicted, what was that, 3 or 4 weeks ago? It was going to be on this day.
All I did was just look at the 8-week cadence, right?
Yeah.
Spot on.
Yeah. I was memeing Lance a little bit a couple weeks ago. Oh, the mic has an echo? Does it really? Let me check. Testing, audio testing. It might be because I'm too loud, or wait.
Do this?
Yeah.
There you go.
Point it towards yourself. Thank you, Travis. Appreciate the love, man. I think the mic echo was part of this segment. That's insane. So yeah, they're following that 8-week cadence, right? And I guess Lance was absolutely correct. You know, I guess each patch is gonna last about what, 24 weeks? Is that what it is? 8, 16, 24?
No, 20. Oh, each season.
Yes.
Yeah, each season 24 to 26 weeks roughly.
Okay.
Yeah.
24 to 26. Interesting. So I mean, as you can see on screen here, I can even zoom in a little bit. We can get that sponsor out there. 11.5 content update ushers in a new host of activities rolling out beginning with the launch of the update, with more to come in the weeks that follow. It all begins with the Nightfall scenario. So here's the thing. There's also a pretty controversial little part of this whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
And it's that Blizzard is waiting to release all the content immediately to players. So for example, what's going to be happening is right when the patch launches, it launches on April 22nd, and we get the Nightfall scenario, the reputation, the faction rewards, and stuff like that. But we don't get everything else, like Horrific Visions, as well as Dastardly Duos, until many weeks later.
Yeah.
Very interesting decision. Lance, what do you think about that? Because Nightfall comes out on the 22nd. Horrific Vision comes out, 4 weeks later on May 20th?
Yeah, it's just about 4 weeks. Now, I kind of understand their reasoning behind it. It's not, like, it's a 0.5 patch, right? And none of this is content that's going to take so long to kind of just complete in its entirety. So I think they want to space it out so it's like, okay, it is going to be an 8-week patch. If we give everything on day 1, by week 4, everyone's like,
dry,
well,
yeah.
what the hell left? Like, what's left to do? It's over. Also, this way, I think people can go and enjoy the content at a slower pace. So it's like, okay, I can get in there, do my Nightfall, grind that rep out without feeling like I'm missing Horrific Visions or I'm missing Dastardly Duos. So I know a lot of people are upset personally. I know people are going to think this is me just being a Blizzard suck-up. I think it's pretty cool, man. I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I like the little bit of a delay. I personally like the idea of maybe 2 weeks or maybe 3. 4 seems very long. And also, Dastardly Duos being released on June 3rd through the 15th
of July.
I guess that is July. So I guess, yeah. Personally, for me, it is a little bit long. I think the duration in, time in between Horrific Visions and Dastardly Duos is good. That's 2 weeks. Once again, personally, I would like for there to be maybe 2-3 weeks in between everything. Like Nightfall comes out, then 2-3 weeks later, Horrific Visions. 2-3 weeks later, Dastardly Duos.
Yeah, and that could make a little bit more sense as well, because I do believe, and this is me guessing here, I think Dastardly Duos will still be going on as we're in 11.1.7. I think when we get to that 0.7 patch, you'll still have a week or 2 of Dastardly Duos. So I don't know why you would do that. Why not
What's up, nerdy?
Space them up a little bit that way.
Deserted, what's going on? What's going on?
You could do it like that. I don't think you have to. I don't know. We'll see. But I think you're right. 2 weeks in between could be better. Maybe even 3. It does seem a little bit wide.
Yeah, no, it is. It definitely is. Once again, personally, ladies and gentlemen, you guys got to let us know what you think about it. Do you think 3-4-ish weeks in between the content releasing is a good thing? Do you think it's bad? Do you think it's, Blizzard trying to time gate people, which technically they are, which I don't think it's a terrible thing. But I want to hear what you guys' thoughts are on this because it's very important. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen them do something like this in a 0.5 patch. I've seen them do it in major patches with, holding off the raid, holding off the season. That's normal.
Yeah.
But on a 0.5 patch, holding off content, I don't remember actually seeing this before. So it is very interesting.
Yeah, and it is a 0.5 patch. Don't forget, we've had 0.5 patches. I'm looking at you, Wad, with Twitter integration and selfie cam as that's it. That's all that was, added to the game. So we have some good content here. Listen, is it content that's made for the top end pushers of the game? Probably not, right?
I mean, I'll tell you what. I just spent like 3 days on the PTR testing everything, playing it, learning it. I don't want to say mastering it, but just really honing it so I understand and so I can explain it properly. It is a lot of fun, man.
Which one in particular?
Horrific Visions in particular.
Okay.
But wait a second, because Nightfall is fun as hell too. I like the rep. I love the story behind that whole thing. I personally would have liked a little bit more to it, but it's still cool nonetheless.
Well,
Static Badger says, I think 3 to 4 week cadence is good because it helps me not get burnt out too fast into the season, gives me plenty of time, and forces me to go play different games or other things. Yeah, I could agree.
And that's a good point.
Yeah, and I think that's what they're trying to do. They don't want people to get burned out or feel like they have to do everything all at once. They want them to take their time and sort of go in that little ebb and flow.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm happy, I'm hype, and then just when I start feeling like slow, like nothing's going on, in a week I'm getting brand new content, brand new
100%.
content. So
100%.
it is very interesting. Baby Jesus, what's going on? How we doing, dude? I agree with y'all. Stretch out the content so we don't get overwhelmed if it came all at once.
Yeah, it's not even just overwhelmed. Like, we know how the WoW player base is, right?
Yeah.
If the content's there, they're going to consume it, and they're going to consume it fast, and then they're going to complain and say, there's nothing left to do.
Yeah, Max makes a good point. He says it's annoying, but at least there is content. Yeah. It's solidified content. And he's saying it'd be a lot worse if there was no content. Yeah, I do agree.
Yeah, Kuzi, I mean, sure, it's just basic... I think it's a basic business practice, right?
Well, I think they're also really leaning into that whole, we know WoW is seasonal thing, and we want to keep people around consistently as much as possible. Like, they know it's seasonal, so they're thinking, okay, what can we do as a team and as developers to keep people from not leaving instantaneously?
Yeah.
Don't give them the entire fucking meal that you're about to feed them all at once. Give them the appetizer.
And one course here.
Yeah, exactly. Give a little taste. You know what I mean? Nerdy says, I'm just not looking forward to Visions. I'll get my enchant and shelf it. I played it back in the day. I'm good. I'm here for the new story content. Player housing, waiting room.
Yikes. I mean, yeah, listen, I think I've heard a lot of people in the comments recently actually say that they're so excited for player housing that they will not be spending any more traders tender until housing is out, because they know there's going to be a lot of housing shit on the trading post. So there's a lot of people with you on that one.
Yeah, absolutely. I absolutely agree. Yeah, very good stuff though. So we did officially get the date, April 22nd, for the Nightfall scenario, which is also still very fun. It's still fun. I'm not saying it's bad content. There's a lot of great rewards to be earned there. Well, transmogs, cosmetics, mounts, pets,
it's the classic invasion style events that they've been doing since Legion,
it's
right?
Fun.
We know what it is at this point.
I like it a lot. The cooldown manager, I mean, we will be discussing that a little bit.
Very excited for that. Absolutely
stoked for the UI cooldown manager. And Winds of Mysterious Fortune buff, that is a very big one as well. Can I zoom in more? Yeah. That's for the 20% experience buff, 100% towards Dornagal reputations, 200% towards Dragonflight, which is Khazal
200%, huh?
200%, yes,
right.
Absolutely insane. So new Mythic Plus or Raid, just filler tier. This is a 0.5, so there isn't a new Mythic Plus season or Raid. It's just added extra, like, little bite-sized contents to keep us busy. So no Mythic Plus, if that's what you were asking. Horrific Visions Revisited coming 4 weeks after that, which is pretty controversial. A lot of people are talking about that. And then Dastardly Duos 2 weeks after that.
Yeah.
So yeah, very interesting. And then they show the the reps for the Dragonflight ones, the War Within ones right here, which is great. Keep on moving. We have the Arathi scenario, which was a lot of fun, man. The cooldown manager, which was so goddamn good. When I used it on the PTR, it took a matter of seconds, Lance, to get it set up. Literally seconds.
Awesome.
And it instantly made everything feel smoother. So I think a lot of people are going to be enjoying that a lot. Been waiting on my guild invite. Yo, listen, if you're applied in game, it should almost be instantaneous.
Probably Alliance, and that's probably the hold up there.
I think this is very good. Horrific Visions was a lot of fun, and I think we're going to dive into all that a little bit more in our episode that comes out later this week. But just wanted to break down the release date of a lot of stuff coming and go from there. We also have
This one is interesting. I'm actually very interested in this. So most of these corruptions coming in this patch are seeming to be a 1% damage increase, if not less.
1%.
I'm going to be honest with you. I know what their...
I like the koozie.
I know what their thought process is. You see how a lot of people in this chat seem to not like Visions?
Oh, they don't.
Yeah, they don't want people to have to feel forced to do them.
Yeah, that's exactly the thought process.
Yeah.
Almost everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, let's break this down very quickly. If you're in chat or you're watching this video, you got to let me know right now, do you like horrific visions or not? Just as a gameplay feature in general. Now, what's important to know here is that Blizzard is making it very, very optional if this is the case to come live horrific visions. Most patch corruption enchants are going to be less than 1% damage increases. That is insane.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be honest, when I was on... Baby Jesus says, yeah, it's a quick no. No, when I was on the PTR and I was testing out some of the enchants, they didn't feel impactful at all. So I'm glad to know that the 2 or 3 that I tested weren't just all the bad ones. They're all just bad. Skippable content confirmed. Well, I will say there is a lot of transmog stuff that you can get.
Yeah, there's some sick transmog and mounts.
Don't forget also the hero tier gear, hero weapons. So if you want to play some alternate characters, you go in there, you farm out those, what are the curios or nightmare curios or something, and you use them, and you can get some really, really good stuff for your gear. It was also 100k. Yeah, but the thing is I was without any masks, and I think in one run I got like 6,000 curios with
really?
0 masks. So, but I full cleared. But if I have, you're telling me if I have 5, 6, 7 masks on, the rewards are going to be amped up to the moon. I could be getting 20, 30k a run.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
What do you mean? That's amazing. That's a phenomenal thing. But it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. Now, the greater variations of the enchants are going to cost roughly 1,000. The minor ones are 500. Either way, though, big poo-poo.
You can get those in one run. The greater.
By the way, I don't know what this number is. 5 mask run providing over 2,000. Impossible. I have it recorded, and I'll have to pull it up and put it on this video for you on screen now, ladies and gentlemen. You can see me earning thousands of curios in one run with no face mask.
Wow, hold on, because if they're saying a 5 mask is, if that's true,
5 mask run having 2,000, that's not true. It's not true.
Can't be right.
Well, because I think I bought 4 or 5 talent points after I did that final run where I full cleared everything.
Yeah.
And each of them cost anywhere between 500 to 1,000. And I bought 4. So 2,000. So I got a good amount with, and those were just tier 1 talent points. Anyways, point is you should be able to get a healthy amount. Maybe the 2k is the base guarantee. Maybe that's what they are saying. While the lesser variations cost 500, 5 mask run, average 5k mask run. Yeah, so I guess it is.
And it says providing over 2,000. So okay, sure.
Anyways, the corruption helms, if you guys aren't aware, they're just simple enchantments that add some minor effects to your character.
They gotta up that.
They're tough. They're tough.
No, they gotta up that.
For example, you look at this, the damaging abilities build the Echoing Void. Each time it builds, Echoing Void has a chance to collapse, dealing 25,000 damage to all nearby enemies.
No, they gotta up it. Considering we got that Siren Isle ring in the 0.7 that was so powerful, give us this, let us be powerful at the end. It's gonna be the end of the season at that point anyway. Everyone, like, let people who maybe are struggling to get AOTC or shit, even cutting edge, let them get it. Let them get their 3k IO. Let them get all of this stuff. Like, juice us up. Depower it in the next patch. Sure, in the next season. Make it just null and void. But let us get juiced up. It's going to be the end of the season. Who cares?
There's a lot of people who don't want to do this. Like, literally at all.
Yeah, but the reason I think a lot of people disliked it in BFA was because of the nature of it, right? You had to grind out these things to be able to go in there to then get a random, corruption. It was kind of
also you can only do a couple a week. So when you failed, it felt like
shit.
Yeah, it felt like shit.
But now it's like, first off, they're probably easier now, right? Because you get that
guy
that follows you around.
Well, you get the guy, he helps a little bit, but your characters, I don't know, like everything just feels better.
You also don't have to worry about the cloak and leveling up your cloak.
And not only that, like, it feels easier for the lower tiers.
Yeah.
like gradually, like I think the very first run I got my butt whooped pretty fast, but even 1 or 2 runs after that, I could full clear. So 1 or 2 runs after that, I'm already full clearing.
Yeah.
So it's really like by my 3rd or 4th run, I was full clearing and I had plenty of time left. When I mean plenty, I had maybe 10, 15 minutes left.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So I was dialed in. My character was very strong and I was full clearing very, very quickly with even just 1 mask on. So, I mean, obviously, we all know there's 8 masks and it could get pretty hectic, I'm sure.
Yeah, this content will not be mandatory for any, unless, but the thing is, even those players, Kuzi, who are that 1%, by this point in the patch, they already have everything, like in the season, they have done everything they need.
This is a great question for Lance. Do you feel like the original, when he's talking about the corruption?
I do think
was a precursor to
yeah, I think that was like a certain day. Okay, what can we do to give solo players something, right?
Yep.
And I think the first one would have been the Mage Tower in Legion. This was their attempt in BFA, which then led them to Torghast in Shadowlands. So yeah, I think they've been doing this. I do think it is a precursor, right? Like, do people want challenging solo content? Yeah, I would say, but I think delves are better. I think delves are better than that.
Yeah, I do too.
Waiting for them to do Torghast Revisited. By the way, Torghast was a lot of fun.
Oh god.
I like Torghast.
I liked doing Torghast a little bit, but the second it felt mandatory, it like killed
shitty.
It for me.
What about the boss rush Torghast was badass.
I never even did it. I quit by then. Valkyria, what's going on? By the way, if you guys are in the chat right now and you're able to be in game, you guys gotta let us know, like all the guild members that are in game, spam in guild that we are live, because a lot of people don't even know that we are live. I need you guys to help us out here. We're absolutely free. That's all I'm asking. I'm not asking for money or anything. Brew Suede Shoes, insane name, by the way. Thanks for following. Go in game, spam in the guild, let people know, go in the Discord, let them know we are live. Oh, yeah. I would really, really appreciate it. Brew, thank you so much for the follow. Love you, buddy. Appreciate it. BFA Horrific Visions, chore gas. Absolutely, Steve. I agree. 100%.
I don't know. I like Torghast.
Anyways, moving on from this, something that is interesting, though, is I didn't get to this point, is that in this mode, there are going to be some crest drops having 5+ masks, and those crest drops are going to be for making some of the best gear in the game. 3 to 4 masks start giving Rune Crest, and then 5+ masks start giving Gilded.
It's actually insane.
So not only, and this is completely solo, okay? Now, you have to understand, pay attention to this, Lance, this is very important. Completely solo, ladies and gentlemen, you could be farming Transmog, you can be farming hero weapons, you could be farming champion gear.
Wait a second.
And you could be farming your gildeds to create some of the best gear in the game completely solo. And to my understanding, unlike Delves, as of time of posting this, the Gilded Crest from Horrific Visions are not hard capped to 31 per week. So this means, technically, so that if you don't want to engage in Mythic Plus or Mythic Raiding or any other really difficult content, you can farm these crests out without a group. And they actually have the breakdown here. So if you have 8 masks, each run can give you, I think, up to 7 gildeds, depending.
How long did a run take you?
At what I was at?
Wait a second. You don't need to full clear. You could just go kill the boss.
I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know that. I don't know that statistics of if you can just straight. I would doubt it. I would think it would depend on.
No, I'm going. I'm gonna.
I would think that it depends on how many bosses you kill, but each run took about like 15, 20.
Not bad.
So it's like a delve.
7 gilded crests for 15-20 minutes.
Torghast was one on beta. Now it is interesting. Yeah, exactly. So now, ladies and gentlemen, you can get gildeds, you can farm towards a hero weapon, you can get mounts, you can get cosmetics, and it's a fun little mini game, and you don't have to rely on group players that maybe you're not really in the mood of playing with. And then if you want to just play with 2 or 3 friends, you can go in there with friends, right?
Wow.
So really cool idea. Really, really cool idea. And I think that'll help, convince people a little bit. to get in there and check it out. Additionally, when it comes to Mythic Plus, I know everyone's favorite topic, right? Blizzard did hold that poll about the Mythic Plus dungeon rotation for the voting. And once again, this isn't 100% confirmed, but as of right now, the top 4 dungeons out of that pool are Arakara City of Echoes, the one with the spider and the Nerubian and the boss at the end that pulls you in. Operation Floodgate, which we're going through now. Priory, which we're going through now. And Dawnbreaker. I don't mind those 4 personally. Ladies and gentlemen, what do you guys think about these 4 dungeons so far?
I actually think they're only going to take 3 of those.
Maybe.
And then the 4th one is going to be the new dungeon coming in the next patch.
And then 4 off-season.
And then 4 off-season, yeah. Or off
Arkara's rough. I love Arkara. That's probably my favorite Mythic Plus to run because there's so many freaking juiced up AoE pulls, man. It is so much fun.
So, these people really chose to have Floodgate and Priory back 2 seasons in a row. Okay, sure.
Insane. Baby Jesus says this, Lance. Listen to this. Delves are the best thing in this game. Father with 3 kids and my wife. Delves were able to get me pretty high in item level, then move on to harder content like Mythic Plus. Ooh, yeah, Lance, you got a comment for that?
Listen, as a father to a 1-year-old in 2 weeks, I'm with you, bro. I'm with you. I mean, you know how many times that I was able to run a delve, baby would start crying, go help him, soothe him a little bit, give him to mom, get back to gaming.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I hear you.
I'd say that's pretty freaking cool. And then lastly, ladies and gentlemen, for the weekly, roundup, cooldown, whatever, we have one more quick little thing to bite into, and it's that the Dark Moon Fair is back right now. So right now, it's probably the best time to get some extra profession points. Yeah. Get your Dark Moon hat going, right? Get extra reputation. You can get hundreds of free reputation, literally just putting on the hat and just doing the content you normally do. So this you cannot miss out on. Absolutely mandatory. You just got to remember, get the shit completed, and maybe even stock a couple for the rest of the week, which I definitely have to do. I've just been absolutely slammed. By the way, really quick, ladies and gentlemen, let's go to this scene really quick. I do want to make a quick point. If you guys are interested in supporting the Comeback Kids while also gaining something, listen up because we do have a quick message for you. Check it out. Okay, the wait is over, ladies and gentlemen. The first official merch drop from the Comeback Kids is here. We've got 2 classics, our clean and bold Comeback Kids logos, but we also got the real deal. Our very first limited edition exclusive one-time drop, the Retro Goblin Comeback Kids design. And once this shirt is gone, it's gone for good. Don't wait too long because we don't want you missing out. Hit the link in the description below to head on over to the site and grab your merch to rep the Comeback Kids in style today. Boom. Ladies and gentlemen, yes, that is the Comeback Kid official merch. By the way, we just passed 30 sales on the Goblin shirt as we just released the double XL size for the shirt. So small, medium, large, extra large.
Thank God we didn't buy extra small.
And we got the extra large. So if you guys are interested, check out the merch, man. I promise you won't be disappointed. But ladies and gentlemen, I think it might be time for something a little bit different here. What's going on? We have something happening.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Lance's Lore, where once a week we will take a deep dive into the unsung legends of World of Warcraft. Today we're talking about the little-known character before this patch, but someone who has been with us since the very beginning. We are going to be talking about Renzik, aka the Shiv. So, a lot of you don't know, Renzik has actually been in the game since Vanilla WoW. For the Alliance players in our chat, he has actually been in the Rogue, near the Rogue Trainer in Stormwind this entire time. I actually didn't know that until I actually looked it up. When I started doing this deep dive on this character, that's when I found that out, which I thought was pretty interesting. He has been in the game since Vanilla. He does have a Hearthstone card, you're correct. He does have Renzik the Shiv, is in Hearthstone. He's been in the game since 2004, with most players kind of overlooking him, which I thought was pretty awesome. Now, what's really cool about this guy is technically he's an alliance factioned goblin, right? Most goblins were either, especially in vanilla, actually in vanilla they had no faction at all. They weren't horde nor alliance. He was the only goblin in all of vanilla that did have a faction, and he was 100% alliance. So it's pretty awesome. A little bit about him. He was actually an orphaned in the Undermine as a child goblin. Parents were killed by one of the cartels. I think they owed them some money and they had to get whacked, right?
You gotta get whacked. That is what it
is.
is.
What it
Dead
is,
man,
you
dude.
know?
Dead man.
So what happened here is he ended up joining in with one of the cartels, the Crack Slagger cartel. He started rising the ranks and he became the meanest, baddest goblin in all of Undermine, to the point where they were calling him the Bloody Fist. When he went to town, let's just say that people were running. They were scared, and he quickly rose those ranks to the point where they didn't know what to do with him. Now, what's cool about Renzik, though, he never was a bad guy. He was not, unlike most goblins where they were all about greed and they wanted more and more and more, he was just trying to survive. He had to do what he did. We've all been in the Undermine. It's a seedy little place, right? And he was just trying to make ends meet and survive. Just turns out he was really good at kicking ass. So he became head honcho of this Crack Slagger cartel. But what ended up happening is he's like thinking to himself, I gotta find a way out. Gotta find a way out. One day he runs into none other than Matthias Shaw of the SI7. Yeah, by the way, someone said he has no voice actor. Quick tangent on that. No voice actor because of his voice actor was actually in the strike due to the SAG-AFTRA. So that's why they didn't want to go and give his role to someone else. So they kind of just gave him respect and didn't cast anyone else. That's why he has no voice actor. So it's not Blizzard being cheap or them forgetting. They were just actually showing respect to the actor, which I actually thought was pretty cool. So in any case, Renzik ends up running into Matthias Shaw of the SI7. Deep diving iceberg, yeah. Down in the Undermine when he's doing some recon work, trying to figure out something for Stormwind. Well, they end up getting into a little bit of a scuffle, and our buddy Renzik here actually beats Matthias Shaw in a one-on-one fight and captures him. And honestly, it's kind of unbelievable when you see Matthias Shaw. He's some otherworldly figure almost in the game, but Renzik does actually whoop his ass.
That's freaking insane,
which
dude.
is insane.
I didn't know that.
And he gives him the choice. He's like, listen, if you give me a way out of the Undermine, I'll defect to the Alliance, pretty much. So he ends up basically finding a way out because he hates the Undermine so much. He's like, I gotta get out of here. He follows Matthias Shaw back to Stormwind and joins the SI7.
That is crazy.
So from there, he actually becomes one of their key field operatives. He's going on all of these missions, and he becomes one of the leading members of the SI7, which is why you see him in Stormwind in vanilla, which is what I found out.
Yeah, that's probably the image you guys are going to see in a couple of seconds where he looks like the old
Yeah,
Goblin
you'll see
model,
the vanilla model for
coming up in
Renzik
just
here.
a second.
So he ends up joining SI7, becomes one of the top members, and becomes a very good friend of Matthias Shaw. Thing is, he sticks to his same old ways where he's sneaky, doesn't need a lot of glory, and it kind of fits that SI7, model. Not only that, he's a goblin. No one expects him to be on the Alliance, let alone in their secret spy network, right? He could sneak in and out of places and be unsuspecting. So he really ended up being a part of the Alliance, but he comes back in 11.1. We meet him down in the Undermine. He's kind of following around Gazlo. We all quested with him. Yeah, the meme, no voice actor, right? But he ends up being an integral part to the story. He's constantly telling Gazlo, something's got to change in the Undermine. We got to fight for it. Gazlo's like, no, I don't want to be here. Undermine is not worth saving. It's kind of a shithole. Let's leave it to die. Like, let's just get out of here.
Damn, Gazlo's a shithead.
Listen, he just has his priorities, right? But he's like, Gazlo, we have to get this done. He's pushing him the whole of 11.1 story. But what ends up finally happening is, and you've seen it here already and next to me here, Nikki the Fixer, because of what we were doing in the Undermine, takes a shot at Gazlo. And Renzik, being the Chad he is, steps up in front of it, takes the bullet. And what was just like the way he lived in life, there was no grandiose cinematic. There was no crazy shit that went on. It was just he fades away into nothingness pretty fast. And usually, in WoW, when someone dies, it's a big story. But no, it was he's dead, he's gone, boom. And it was kind of powerful, right?
Yeah, it was a straight up blip.
Even though most people didn't even know this character existed until 11.1, it kind of felt something. And it was like, holy shit. Look, boom, nothing, just fades into nothingness right before our eyes. Barely even gets to say anything. But his death was so important in this patch because it led to the liberation of Undermine, right? It led to Gazlo finally saying, you know what? If my friend Renzik was willing to die for me or Undermine, I'm willing to fight for it. And it led to the spark that led to this rebellion, right? So it's crazy. From a forgotten street rat, he became the key figure in a revolution. And because of that, we have now liberated Undermine. It is not under Gazlo's control.
That's freaking insane, dude. I didn't know all that stuff about him. He's pretty fire. Galley's in the BFA raid in his mech suit, is he?
Yeah, Gallywix, yeah.
I didn't do anything in BFA, I'm gonna be honest with you. But man, yo, Renzik is he's a badass, and I mean, I know he gets memed on with the whole voice actor thing, but first of all, beating Matthias Shaw, I didn't know he did that either. He beat him in a 1v1, and that dude is supposed to be like the man, like
supposed to be James Bond of
he's like the goat of all goats when it comes to like being a rogue and a spy. So that's pretty freaking epic, man. Insane. Lance, great. I didn't know half that shit. Yo, for real, me too. Some pretty good writing and a way to make it feel important to both factions. Yeah, that was awesome. I think, what a cool character. I feel smarter after all this. I feel pretty smart now. Absolutely freaking crack, dude. Now listen. We had a little time to chill and dive into some lore, but I think it's time to amp things up and freak out a little bit, right? All right, it's time for the full-on freakout, where we pull the wildest, saltiest, and most unhinged takes from the WoW community. From rage posts to Reddit meltdowns, nothing here is safe from the freakout. Let's get into it. Boom, ladies and gentlemen. All right, this is going to be our next segment, and it is the forum freakout. Pretty much this is going to be highlighting all the craziest WoW takes, forum posts, Reddits, the whole shebang from the World of Warcraft community, diving into it, seeing what we think, seeing what the community thinks, seeing what everyone thinks about it, feels. So leave your comments, leave your thoughts. I've got to hear your guys' opinions on a lot of this stuff, because this stuff is pretty intense. I'll tell you that much. And right off the bat, Lance, our first freak out of the couple here that we have this week is World of Warcraft is too difficult. World of Warcraft's too difficult. I've recently introduced 3 newcomers to WoW, and I've introduced them to retail WoW, and we've leveled up, yada, yada, yada. I think starting tomorrow, going to move them over to Classic, SOD, or Classic Anniversary. The problem is there's just too many buttons, and it's diminishing on their enjoyment of the game, especially in dungeons where you're immediately pushed into things are on the ground and things on the ground are bad, or the needing the constant movement in combat with convulse ability rotations and really no actual in-game way to teach them the correct buttons to press either. Does this mean retail should change? Actually, I don't think so, but I do think WoW... yeah, imagine that, right? I don't think so, but I do think WoW should probably try to push people towards Classic, SOD, Cataclassic for newcomers, because the retail experience is just way too much going on. Too much quest. You're zipping around. Okay, so it seems to me like this guy, he hates retail. He does not like anything about retail. He doesn't like the flying. He doesn't like the amount of quests, apparently. The flying around the globe, barotted with a scene amount of buttons. Okay, so he doesn't like a lot of things about retail. So some of these are justifiable. Some of these are a little bit much in my opinion. But Lance, and for the audience, I gotta ask you guys, Is World of Warcraft retail too difficult?
So I'll say this, right? The title is a little bit clickbait here because that's really not even what he's talking about. What I think he really and what the OP should have said is it's not that the game is too difficult. And we've said this ourselves. Blizzard has a new player guide problem. They don't do enough to teach players coming into retail enough
At all.
They don't do enough.
At all.
And yeah, by the way, if you've never played WoW, especially if you've never played Classic and retail is your first go round, there is a lot that goes on. And Exile's Reach doesn't teach much at all.
Also, he put an edit. Also, dragon riding is terrible for new players.
Well, that's just not true. That's just false.
What's wrong with dragon riding? Dude, I'm going to be honest. Ever since I've started using dragon riding, I cannot go back to regular flying. It feels like a freaking snooze fest.
Yeah.
Like, I sit there, I press number lock, and I go on my phone. Yeah. I don't know when's the last time. Like, I remember when I was playing Burning Crusade back in, 2020, 21, whatever. I remember I'd be flying from Hellfire Peninsula to wherever, Netherstorm, whatever, doing heroics, whatever. I'd literally fly up as high as I can, point me in the general direction, number lock, and I'm on my phone.
Yeah, there's no gameplay there.
It is so boring, and it's actually a snooze fest. I'm not going to lie. This is like a guy I know who doesn't play video games because he says video games aren't video games anymore, like Pac-Man. Has this person ever tried EVE Online? Oh, man.
Jesus.
I love this. I just wish we could hover and drag riding like we did in regular flying. Yeah, I do agree. I wish there was a quick toggle button.
I think there's a button where you could aerial halt.
Could flap back, sure, but like just hover. I think that's what it means.
They should have had that.
Interesting. The community is trash, but the game is cool. It's not too difficult, but it's super unappreciated by a mass amount of cynical people.
I'll actually say this. I think overall, the WoW community is not that bad. And I don't think, and I know because of things like Mythic Plus and people not getting invited to keys, they say that the community is not bad. Here's the thing, right? You not getting invited to keys does not mean the community is bad, but you cannot be upset at people who are running their own keys for trying to stack the deck in their favor as much as they can.
Absolutely.
You cannot do that.
What do you mean? Don't hate the player, hate the game.
Yeah, that doesn't make the community trash. And I find that most players, when you meet them, if you give a friendly hello, which most players, when you grew up with them, will not even say hello. If you do that, they'll say hello back. They'll talk. They'll be pretty cool.
You want to hear something pretty interesting, and this may be my own personal experience, and I don't want to make it everyone's experience, but I feel like trying to get into a group of friendly individuals is easier in retail than it is Classic. I know that's going to sound like an insane take, and it's going to sound like I'm a psycho, but I need you to hear me out. If I try to go into Classic right now on Classic Anniversary, I like Retribution Paladin. I love it. It's my favorite spec to play in Classic. Exactly. I better not love it. If I try to get into a group, people are not going to want to invite me because of that class that I play. In retail, that doesn't happen. It doesn't matter what class you play, you can get in. I feel like there's so much gatekeeping in Classic, and it's more... What's the word, Lance? Like... It's just it's not as friendly. Like, I feel like I get so many tense interactions in a Classic environment.
Do you know why?
Why is that?
Well, Classic is because everyone knows, even people who don't know the game and aren't studying it, know that Warrior is the best class. And they know
Mage.
if you're... Sure, but if you're a DPS and you're not a Warrior, you're kind of an idiot. And they know that. Like, they're just trying to stack as many of those in their group as possible. And if you're... Or... classes that buff their warriors. And if you ain't one of those, get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
Why would you be a paladin or a red paladin when you could be a holy paladin?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, overall though, I hear what this person's saying, but I don't really personally agree with a lot of their takes. You I think you're out of your mind. While retail is not difficult, but I do agree the new player experience can improve. Yeah, that is one thing that we ragged on World of Warcraft retail just the other day. Like, the new player experience in retail is dog water. It is so bad, and there's so many ways that they can make tutorials and breakdown in the new player systems. It's impossible to get into retail from a new player standpoint. It's very, very, very difficult. If you've never played WoW before, that's what I'm saying. I'm not talking like you've played Classic. and then you're trying to get into retail. No, I'm talking
No,
about
it's hard.
pure. I've never played World of Warcraft before. I would recommend go play Classic first.
Well, that's what we do with our friend Steven.
Yeah, that's what we've done.
And when he came into retail, he was all right. You know, he did okay for himself.
Druid level 28, she has Wrath, Moonfire, Regrowth, Entangling Roots, Cap Form. By the way, this is all the same thing in Classic. Everything right here, except for Travel Form. This is literally all the same thing. This is all the same thing you'll have. 10. Okay, even by level 10, like, it's 2 buttons in Cap Form. It's
you're
2 buttons in
Mark
Bear.
of the Wild?
I guess you are.
Come on.
You have Revive as a button? You use that once a day. Use Aquatic Form once a day. Use Rebirth once a day. I don't know. I feel like...
Come on.
I'm not loving that take. I'm not. And
Relax.
I feel like, by the way, I will say, I've leveled a couple characters recently, like progressing in retail, like 1 to max, and I actually felt like the rate at which I get spells and progress my character is very smooth.
When was the last time you leveled a Death Knight?
What do you mean?
It feels like level a Thrall's Death Knight and tell me you're not bored out of your mind because they don't start giving you any of your procs.
My point is that I felt like the progression was really good, and there are times in Classic where, listen, I love Classic. Nothing will ever take that away from me. I love Classic. I think it's one of my favorite games of all time, if not my favorite.
Well,
but there are times where I am literally pressing the same button over and over, and I'm bored.
No, it's not times. That's
no like.
If you're in a raid, that's every class besides Warrior.
Oh my god, raid. You're talking about raiding. I'm talking about leveling 1 to 30.
Oh.
1 to 30, I'm literally... And by the way, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying, like, if we're going to complain about button bloat, like, it's 2 completely different games. You know what I mean? I don't know. Without guides, you do need to read your spell book to get somewhat of an idea. I mean, yeah,
No.
what are we...
The problem with this post is the person is, I guess they're treating their friends like they're mentally challenged.
I don't know. Ladies and gentlemen, do you guys think World of Warcraft retail is too difficult? Listen, I know some friends of mine who aren't the best at the game, but they play the game. They can try some Mythic Plus. They can do some heroic raiding. They're not the best at the game, but they're a part of our community. They're playing with friends. You know, they have a raid leader sort of guiding them out. But they're able to play the game, you know what I mean? Like just because there are 4 buttons compared to 20 doesn't mean a game is instantly easier. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're just giving you more opportunity to, like, you know, do potentially more. You don't need to press every single button there to be able to play your class at a good freaking rate. I mean, a lot of these buttons were like you don't need to use Aquatic Form, Rebirth, Travel Form, Moonglade, but half of these you don't even use if you're one
teleport
spec.
to Moonglade on there is insane.
You're diabolical.
That's insane.
You're diabolical.
You're just trying to
Now
make that list
reaching.
look bigger.
Yeah, you're reaching
That's
hard, in my opinion. I understand this, but think back to Classic. Most classes had pretty straightforward single target rotations. Sure. 2 to 3 AoE spells at most. Yeah, that was also 2004, when people just learned what an MMO
People's computers barely worked.
People's brains barely worked.
It's not even that, like, your computer couldn't fathom you pressing that many buttons back to back.
People couldn't fathom. They still had one-shot macros in 2004. Ask Max.
Insane, bro.
Come on, dude.
Actually, do you remember, you know, the TBC 1-button hunter rotation? Where you put it all the mouse wheel?
Yeah, that was BC.
Yeah, so I just said TBC.
Yeah. It was awesome. If you consider retail hard, you would have had a mental breakdown playing Tetris. That's crazy. That is crazy. Oh, Mark, what's going on, baby? One of the best rep paladins in the guild right there. What's going on, baby? How we doing? Looking sharp as usual. Hope you're having a good night, buddy. Glad you could join the show. Ladies and gentlemen, if you guys are just tuning in, we're on the Forum Freakout segment of the show where we dive into forums, Reddit posts, threads, community comments, and more, and we see what's going on with them and why people are freaking out. Anyways, I think we sort of touched on this enough. Ladies and gentlemen, you got to ask yourself, is World of Warcraft too hard? Is it too easy? Or are people just freaking out, right? Let me go ahead and move on to the next thread here. Oh,
Hey,
Sally No-Nos?
Sally No.
That's a really cool name. Thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Much love, much love. Lance, how many years do you guys think World of Warcraft really has left? 1 second. I just want to say one thing. How many times have I said, I mean, God, WoW's got to die sometime, right? How many times have I said that the last, oh, by the way, carry the 20 years?
I mean, people have been saying that since TBC. I just want to make that clear.
Dude.
How
many
here's the
years
thing, man.
do we have left?
WoW's still the king, baby. And if you want to kill the king, you better come correct. Better come correct. Coming out here. That weak-ass shit. All these games saying they're the next WoW killer. Weak-ass shit. Rift, dead. SWTOR, life support. New World, shit was dead on arrival. What's next? Oh, Guild Wars 2? Actually, it's pretty good player base, but ain't the WoW killer. Final Fantasy 14, it had its day in the sun for a little bit, but guess what? WoW's back on top. No, RuneScape has its very healthy player base. Actually, I don't have anything bad to say about that.
Listen, the point is, World of Warcraft ain't going anywhere, bro. Like, I have absolutely come to terms. WoW is not going anywhere. For so long, I'd say up until like 2013, 14, I've always thought, like, what's going to be the next MMO to just kill the shit? Like, what is it? I thought it was going to be SWTOR. I was wrong. I thought it was going to be...
It's a good IP.
I thought New World had potential. Absolutely not. I was wrong. I apologize, World of Warcraft. But how many years do you have left? Just out of curiosity, seems like the expansion, they put considerably less effort into...
Crazy thing to say, bro.
Ladies and gentlemen, for the War Within, if you're in here and be honest, do you think they put less effort than ever in the War Within? I gotta hear your comments down below, and I gotta hear you in the live chat right now. The game won't be killed from outside threats. It'll be killed from the inside, from its own community or developers. Yeah, a community can't kill a game. A community's a community. It'll stay forever. I will say, though, a company can absolutely kill a game, depending on how they, handle it. Man.
Can I just say this before I really sound off? Guys, Chris Metzen has said himself in an interview right before War Within came out that they're already working on 17.0. Guys, we're in 11.0. They're working on 6 expansions ahead already on the story for it. The game ain't going anywhere.
This game ain't going
By the way, do you think Microsoft would have spent all that money on Activision if World of Warcraft wasn't very profitable? They just made $19+ million on the Long Boy alone.
True.
Let me tell you something.
I bought them.
WoW is still the most profitable MMORPG alone with just retail if you don't even have Classic in there. You add Classic, the World of Warcraft IP is still a juggernaut.
Absolutely.
Period.
World of Warcraft ain't going nowhere, man. You guys got to understand. There's Classic, then there's the MOP version of WoW at this point, which I don't call it Classic anymore. That's just the reruns.
Yeah, but they have to keep that moniker.
Absolutely, yeah, they're gonna keep that, and I like that they keep that, because guess what? My goofy ass will go revisit it every year and a half, 2 years for a minute.
What? When did MOP release? Is that still 15 years ago?
MOP?
Yeah, is it still 15 years ago? Is that when? Did MOP release 15 years ago?
No.
Because if it's 15-year-old expansion, then it's Classic still.
No. What? MOP didn't release 15 years ago, did it?
I don't know. How long did it take them to go from TBC to Wrath to Kata?
I thought it was 211.
I don't know. That would be 14.
Ladies and gentlemen, when did Mr. Pandaria 2012?
Okay, so that's 13 years.
Jesus, I guess it is getting pretty close.
13 years ago.
Numeri said, for me, the actual problem of Modern WoW is the lore. The last time I gave a shit about characters and stuff was back in Legion. Yeah, well, they killed one of the coolest characters ever, so...
I will say this, though. The lore right now for the War Within is probably the best it's been since Legion, though.
I will say the lore is awesome right now. I didn't give a rat's ass about Shadowlands or Dragonflight or BFA. All three of them.
Castle Nathri I care
No,
about.
that's different. That's different. I like that raid, and I like those characters in the zone. But the lore, I didn't care. It got way too over the top. I like the early days of Legion, the whole idea of them invading. And then it got a little over the top for me personally, where we're on a spaceship fighting this dude in space. I thought that was lame as hell.
And retire and... Man, you don't like building a character up, huh? You never heard of building a character up?
Here's the thing. I've been waiting for this dude to stand up and make something of himself I mean, he's starting to do it because he really is. He's doing in the cinematics.
What do you want from him? In BFA, he was badass in the cinematic in BFA.
I can tell you what I want.
But they tore him down. But now they're gonna build him back up.
I can tell you what I want from him.
At least he looks like a man now. He's gonna become that guy.
I want him to get his dong out of his freaking panties that he's wearing that he stole from his mom, grow a pair, pick up a sword, and stop crying every other expansion.
I guarantee I will bet my life
that's what I want.
That before all is said and done, Anduin will be
he's gonna be
the
a child.
baddest motherfucker in the game.
I know.
Watch.
He's also fucking 30.
No, he's not.
I don't know how
he's
old he
30,
is.
Bro.
I don't know how old he is.
He's probably younger than you and I.
He's trying to look like Fast and Furious right now.
Bro.
He is, though. Here's the picture on screen for people watching the video on YouTube after this. Tell me Anduin doesn't look like this.
But he doesn't need to be Varian.
Come on, man.
He doesn't need... Varian... Well, by the way, Varian's probably my favorite one, besides Arthas and Illidan. One of my favorite characters in all of the lore. But he was pretty one-fucking-dimensional, right?
By the way, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys are interested in supporting the channel for absolutely free, we have the link of the Twitch pinned in the YouTube chat right now. If you guys want to help us out, get it on a second tab, boost up the views for the comeback kids so we do look better. It helps us out become, with the whole partnering situation on Twitch and YouTube. Boost the algorithm would really, really help it out. So if you guys can, please get on a second tab. Really, really appreciate it.
I'm just going to say, first off, do you guys not remember during the leveling up campaign in The War Within when he jumps off the fucking boat onto the
I thought that was cool.
Nerubians to save everyone?
I thought that was cool.
Fucking badass.
You're making me feel like I'm on a hot take debate. But I'll tell you what.
No, bro.
I never said he's not doing great.
Bro.
He's not doing great this expansion. Bro. He's on his way, I would say, this expansion. Anyways, lore-wise, that's besides the point.
No,
the whole point of this was how many years do we think World of Warcraft has left? I'm going to let you know right now on a little secret. WoW is not going anywhere.
Guys, you can't...
For a very... It has been the #1 MMO for 20 years. Do you know what it's like being the best for 20 years? No, hold on, wait a second. That's LeBron James shit.
Tom Brady.
You don't just do that. This will never happen again. You have to understand, in today's day and age, it's surprising if a game is #1 for 6 months. There's so many games that come out. Helldivers. It was a hit, gone. Marvel Rivals will stay #1 for a minute. We all know it. It's a very good game. But the hype for that could slowly die down soon, but it's #1. Valorant was #1, biggest game on the planet. Slowly dying down. CSGO, all these games, like...
What a terrible take.
Being 20 years #1, the most populated MMO in the market, is an impossible thing to do, and they've done it year in and year out.
When a game could come and host and have more subscribers than WoW for just 1 year, let's just do it for...
I'll do it for like 3-4 months. How about a season? Can we do a season?
No, because Final Fantasy had a little bit of time where it had more subs.
I thought that was a couple months, not 4.
Whatever, doesn't matter. It's still #1. You can't talk about its death.
Yeah, I think that's very very immature to bring that up, in my opinion. WoW ain't going nowhere.
Now, to talk about the cinematics of the game since BFA being soft, what a horrible take.
Wait. Hold on, I have to dive into this. Just watch the old cinematics and compare to the actual. From BFA onwards, it's just terribly soft. I will say, okay, BFA onwards. BFA was cool. I thought that was one of my favorite cinematics ever. What's post BFA? It's horrible. My least favorite cinematic. Next,
Dragonflight was cool.
No, I didn't really like I wasn't hyped for Dragonflight.
Okay. War Within.
My opinion, that's my favorite expansion or my favorite cinematic ever.
Bro.
My favorite, because it doesn't
sitting in the sand.
It doesn't need to be all about let me slice your nuts off every 5 seconds. It's fun. That's cool. If I want that, I'll go watch a classic cinematic, or literally classic and TBC if I want that. But seeing those characters in that light with the actual amount of detail in the VFX, it looked so real. I almost cried. I was like, "Holy shit,
bro!
I'm seeing these characters in real life. This is." Some of the coolest shit.
I was at BlizzCon. The girl next to me was crying.
Wow. Was that girl me in makeup or no?
No. The girl next to me at BlizzCon was literally crying I looked over at my wife. I said, "Why aren't you crying?"
That's crazy.
She was like, "I don't play the game. I don't know who these people are." I said, "Have some fucking respect."
That's right.
For the quality.
That's what the fuck I'm talking about. That's what the
Oh,
fuck I'm
Mop
talking
Cinematic
about.
was great, by the way.
Yeah, I enjoyed the Mob Cinematic a lot. Anyways, moving on to the next segment. Pretty worried about new expansion class system. I'm not a big fan of hero talents. A lot of them miss the mark in A lot of them miss the mark in gameplay and fantasy, while also pigeonholing you into talents. I think the base Dragonfly talent trees are amazing. Okay, we can agree on something. What I'm worried about is adding new rows of talents, more points, or another system on top of the tree and hero talents. At some point, it has to stop. It's unsustainable, and it's how we get to borrowed power. Before I continue, this is pretty easy to disagree with because I am a big fan, and I hate to say it, I love the hero talent tree system. I will tell you what, right now, you are not pigeonholed.
We get ones in the chat if you like hero talents, twos if you don't. Ones if you like, twos if you don't, please.
I will tell you what, right now, immediately, you do not have to play any specific hero talent tree. You can play whatever you want. I don't give a shit who you are. And if you think I'm wrong, I'll play any spec in the game, and I'll play any hero talent tree in the game, and I'll go hit 2K plus solo in Mythic Plus on my own. There is absolutely zero chance that you're pigeonholed into playing something specific.
100%.
If you really care about your numbers and you want to push and look fun, sure, there's always a meta option, no matter what, but that's the case in any game, even in Classic.
Yeah.
You're pigeonholed in Classic to play the most specific, talented abilities. And by the way, if you don't even talent point 1 point correctly, you could fuck up your entire build and lose a ton of DPS. So I don't want to hear pigeonholing in Retail WoW. Retail WoW is the most flexible, optional game you can play in your life. People pigeonhole you into abilities. The people you play with pigeonhole you. Your mindset pigeonholes you into certain builds and abilities. So let's get that very clear.
Actually, I want to ask you a question, and the chat as well. What do you think is going to go down?
Pigeonhole.
What do you think is going to go down as the War Within's biggest W? Is it going to be the hero talents?
Mine is Delves.
Or the Delve?
Mine is Delves. I think it's absolutely Delves. I think Delves are more sustainable than hero talents, even though there's a very strong case hero talents will stay forever, but I could be wrong. Delves are evergreen content that will always be in the game forever. But that doesn't change the fact that hero talents are incredibly sustainable. They aren't a borrowed power. They aren't an artifact weapon. And what I love about hero talents is that they all, by the way, have a class fantasy. I'm not sure why this person doesn't think that. I mean, it's very obvious there's a class fantasy in a Sand Lane Blood Death Knight compared to a Frost Death Knight that has Riders, or an Unholy Death Knight that has Riders of the Apocalypse. It's a very different theme or class fantasy. So, in my opinion, very sustainable, very efficient in terms of class fantasy
100%.
and idea, and it's very flexible on what you want to choose. And if you have a different opinion, I'd love to hear why in the comment section below.
Max, hero talents are player housing is going to be a midnight feature, not a War Within feature. So
I guess
you're disqualified from the question, asshole. No, I'm just kidding.
Technically, it's a pre-patch, so technically we will still be.
Yeah, but it's, you know.
In terms of gameplay and content about the War Within, I would only say that Mythic Plus is really boring. The rest is cool. By the way, a lot of people feel the same way. But moving on with this point, I'd rather the talent trees be freshened up every... Come on, man. What are you asking? A brand new complete talent tree for every spec in the game, every expansion? A complete overhaul? Get new passives and baselines rather than add more rows? I don't think they're going to add more rows on talents. I just think they're going to adjust hero talent trees. I think we're going to get 5 more levels the next expansion.
Yep.
It's more manageable. And by the way, it's 10 times more sustainable. And then they're going to rework and update the classes that desperately need it most. Outlaw Rogue, Affliction Warlock, Brewmaster Monk, Augmentation Evoker, and there was one more. Survival Hunter.
Did you say Arcane Mage?
Arcane Mage too.
Because you already said Survival Hunter.
Did I really? Yeah. Those 6 right there, those are the ones that need reworks the most.
They need to, for those classes, they don't just need to rework the way they do damn. They need to rework.
They need to
their,
overhaul them. The theme, the fantasy.
Survival, they should make a tank probably.
Okay.
Start
Settle
making
the fuck
things
down.
tanks and healers. Start doing this type of shit.
I like the idea of making more tanks and healers and making it more accessible. I don't like the idea. I've never liked the idea of a pure DPS class.
Also, can I get a holy DPS pre-spec? Can we get that?
Are you asking me or are you asking chat?
No, you.
I can't give you that.
No, I know you have a connect with Ian Hazakosis,
I don't know Ian.
But I saw you had a video with him, a live stream.
I did have a video with Ian. By the way, me and Ian had a very long conversation after the interview. We talked for maybe 3.5 hours. We shared some wine, some cheese.
Yeah, so call your
Gruyere. Like,
can you message your friend Ian Hazakosis and tell him to
I think he goes to a different school.
Oh.
He goes to a different school. You don't know him like me. You don't know him. Anyways, moving on. You'll take your Mop 2.0 talents. Oh, God. Mr. Pandaria talent trees. You want to talk about
pigeonhole? I don't want to go back to that.
You want to talk about pigeonhole and zero flexibility. Holy shit. Mr. Pandaria talent trees. Talk about no flexibility and pigeonholing you and you're stuck. That was literally like, if you pick this one point, you'll gain 10% DPS. You pick this other point, you will get 0. Oh, daddy. How about a pally that falls to the void for a class? That sounds freaking awesome. Sign me up.
I think they should actually give a spec like that to maybe.
Give me Shaman tank. Yo, by the way, Static. Yeah, I've been wanting that for years, and since I played it in SOD, it was very, very fun. Hero talents are the monkey paw wish from people wanting more class customization. The thing is I don't understand. You don't need to play the meta spec. You don't need to. You never do. By the way, I never do. I literally play what I want, when I want.
Well, I've been just playing whatever I find fun for whatever content.
When we're in progression and we're raiding, I literally swap between 3 DPS specs and 6 different hero talent trees the entire time. I play what I want. And guess what? Not trying to be that guy. I'm top 3 DPS every time. Play what you want and have fun. Stop thinking like if you don't do this, you're going to suck or people aren't going to like you. It's retail. It's actually the opposite. Like, it's the complete opposite.
Aw.
Oh,
David Kim.
David Kim. Housing will be trash, too. The drive features was a flop.
Guys, can we get some... can we get some clowns in the chat for my friend David Kim here?
David, you forgot the makeup. Get the nose and honk right yourself. Housing feature will be trash. I mean, that's a bold take. By the way, no one's going to know if it's going to be good or bad. I can't sit here and say the housing feature is going to be a 10 out of 10. I don't know. It looks to be good so far from what we've seen. It looks great. But how the hell... I can't say anything. I don't know. I don't know.
Also, the drive feature was totally not a flop. I think it's awesome.
By the way, I don't want to sound like I'm just meat riding, but I actually love the drive feature too. I thought it was really cool. Should have had more features. I do think they should have had.
That is true.
10 times more customization.
That's actually true.
I want to customize the engine, the color, the wheel size, this. I want a paint job. I want everything.
I think
that's what
they're doing for that is they know that they don't want to like keep us stuck on just those cars, and they're just testing out dynamic ground mounts for now. And I think they're going to implement more of that in the next expansion.
Yeah, I mean, you might be right. You might be right. All right, this is the last form freakout of the day, ladies and gentlemen. Valorstone cap is depressing. Everyone knows this, right? Oh my God, Lance, do we actually have a form freakout that's not a freakout?
This is one that's justified, right? I think
ladies and gentlemen, can I get justified in the chat if you think Valorstones suck and they should be gone?
Yeah.
Give me some justifieds in the chat.
Not even the cap, just Valorstones in general need to be gone.
Nerdy said based, absolutely. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, the Valorstone cap is... We already need the crest, bro. Yeah. Why do I need to go and grind World Quest out to upgrade my gear too?
Well, they added the... But Lance, they added the chat lists.
Oh, cool. I don't care.
Well,
but I thought... And by the way, guess what? This is saying from someone who I do all the World Quests and undermine every time they're up anyway.
But Lance, the chat list.
No, bro.
No. Okay, I know what you want to do. The World Quest for 40 of them, right?
No.
Okay, no, I know what you want to do. The Radiant Echoes.
Yes.
And you want to stack 10 of them, right?
That's actually not bad. I actually don't mind.
Yeah, by the way, I
Radiant
actually enjoy the Radiant Echoes.
There's cool stories.
But the chat list, you don't love. No, ladies and gentlemen, no one gives you shit. Everyone hates the idea of Valor Stones. What's the point of having double currencies? There's no point. It's nonsense. Just have crests. Just crests.
Yes,
that would
100%.
be the oh my god, that would
100%.
make this last season. By the way, and we were talking to Ian about this in the interview, and we might have to pull up a clip for you here, ladies and gentlemen, when we ask the question. Take a look. But when we talked to Ian in the interview, we mentioned something like, why are Valor Stones in the game? And he said they're already looking at potentially making drastic changes, but as of right now, they're Band-Aid fixing it for Season 2. That's what he said. They did add some fixes. They did add some ways to make it more accessible and easier. I would not be surprised come Season 3.
No.
You don't think so?
Midnight.
I wouldn't be surprised for Season 3.
They probably use it as a win in Midnight. Like, hey, just so you know, there's no Valor Stones this expansion.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me get some F Valor Stones in the chat. F Valor Stones. F Valor Stones. F Valor F Valor All right.
True.
Anyways, I love sitting at 2,000 wondering if spending on champion or hero is the better call. Yeah, that's tough. What were you going to say?
Kuzi said something. Kuzi, do you mean reforging or what do you mean?
Interesting. They need to increase that to 3,000. Yeah, why would there be a cap? Why would they have a cap? What's the point in that?
I don't know, because you know what? If there was no cap,
it would actually be a lot better.
Well, before you even need them, you could just have so much to where you could just use them then, at least.
You know how many times on my Warlock where I literally am forced to upgrade a piece of gear by 1 or 2 times because I don't want to overcap? Like, why would you do that? Why?
Yeah, Kuzi, that was reforging.
Yeah, reforging. Yeah, I don't know. That's kind of tough. It was only 1 stat, I believe, right? I thought it was 1. Ladies and gentlemen, reforging, was it 1 stat that you can change? I thought it was 1, if I'm not mistaken. Dasher, does anyone have an answer?
Yeah, it was pretty good.
I don't know. I don't remember. Anyways, yeah, reforging would be awesome. Reforging would be awesome. But ladies and gentlemen, listen, the truth of the matter is that we've done a lot of talking here and just chilling out and goofing off. Time to get fired up. It's time for a debate. All right, welcome to the Hot Take Debate, where each week we pull a spicy, outrageous World of Warcraft opinion, and Lance has to defend it no matter how bad it is. And me, I'll be on the other side, tearing it down and calling out the nonsense. At the end of the day, it's up to you, the viewer, to decide, was it actually facts or just pure nonsense? This is Hot Take Debate. Oof. Boom, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the most anticipated, the most loved, violated, something made it topic, debate, show, segment on planet Earth. It's time for the Hot Take Debate, where Lance is given a topic during this week, and he defends the segment to the best of his abilities, no matter how bad the take is. And it's my job to tear that shit down and let you guys know it's a trash freaking debate, right? So let's dive into it. What's going to be the topic of discussion today, ladies and gentlemen? For the Hot Take Debate, very first segment, the debate is, does World of Warcraft need borrowed power systems? Now, Lance is going to be defending this take, but I'm going to do my best to tear it down. Lance, listen, there's all this talk about borrowed power, right? Why it's good, why it's bad. What in the actual hell could you be thinking today, thinking that borrowed power should be in the game and WoW needs it? Ladies and gentlemen, you guys got to let me know in the comment section below and in the chat now, does World of Warcraft need a borrowed power system? Can one of my mods in the chat, Kuzi or Max, you're not a mod? Oh yeah, because you would troll me. I forgot. Kuzi, can I get a poll up in the chat? Does WoW need a borrowed power system? If you can't do it, let me know. So Lance, you want to start this one off? Why the hell would you think World of Warcraft needs a borrowed power set? That sounds insane.
Sky, you cooked up a good debate, and I'm gonna say thank you for letting me know this before I came on here, so I could think about it a little bit and write down some thoughts. Because if this was last second, I don't know how I would defend it. But after thinking about it a little bit, I'm gonna be honest with you. We have to stop pretending like borrowed power is some boogeyman that ruined the game. Okay.
All right, man.
You know, everyone always likes to think that.
Go.
Everyone thinks that borrowed power killed the game, and yeah, you know what? Big dog gotta eat. But here's the thing: some of our favorite expansions had borrowed power, and I don't think I need to point very far to prove my point. Everyone, if anyone can look at my favorite borrowed power ever added to the game.
Okay, he whipped out the Xalatath dagger.
Beautiful.
What a scam. This guy.
Xalatath, Black Blade of the Empire.
Yes, but she's perfect to me.
Now,
okay,
listen.
man, get out of here, bro.
Let me tell you guys something. Without borrowed power, it's very easy for these expansions, especially nowadays, where we do just get 8 dungeons, 4 zones. You know, in the 0.5 patches, we get a new zone and all these islands. I get it. But they kind of start blending together, right? That's what happens with these without this borrowed power. But for the expansions that had borrowed power, they are literally expansion-defining features, right? Like, we all will remember. Anyone who played Legion remembers their artifact, right?
Okay, that is true.
Like, let's be honest. Who doesn't remember going and getting their first artifact weapon? And I know your ass does, Mr.
Oh, no,
Doomhammer.
I do. I definitely do. But let me ask you this. One of the worst things I've ever experienced in WoW is transitioning between expansions, and I lose all of that instantly. Everything I grind for, all the grinding for artifact power, all the grinding for the Torghast and the legendaries and all this bullshit and by the way, the legendaries in Legion too. Yeah, sure, it's fun. But guess what? The reason why some of these expansions feel like some of the best of all time is because they make your character feel some of the best ever. Like, you go into Legion, you have the artifact weapon, you're doing it, you're consistently diving, you're getting the artifact power, you're getting the abilities, you're getting the passives, and then you go into a new expansion and you get literally none of that ever again. And that's why that next expansion, it feels like, wow, the game feels very different. I'm not sure I'm liking this direction. I remember going into Dragonflight with so many things changing. I'm like, I just did all this grind. Like, why do I want to invest all my time and energy in doing something that is not evergreen? What's the point? Why would I want to do that?
Yeah.
The other day, I made a point on the podcast that WoW needs to invest more time into evergreen content. So, for example, delves. Instead of systems that can be changed and completely deleted from the game, absolutely, they should be spending their time WoW, with World of Warcraft, what they need is not borrowed power. What WoW needs is evergreen, player housing, Mythic Plus, evergreen content, delves, evergreen content, heroic and mythic raiding, evergreen content. Things that will always come back, stabilize the game at a foundation, and move forward from there.
I mean, while you're right, those things are evergreen content because they could just keep making different and new raids and you could always play them. Here's the thing. With the way that WoW works these days, you know, in its seasonal way, you say that borrowed power resets every expansion, right? Well, doesn't our gear just reset every single season, Sky?
Man. This guy's changing a core fundamental to an MMO and expansions and progression.
No, because that's not how it worked in vanilla and TBC and Wrath. You could get your Bish trinket from the first raid of the expansion, and that's your Bish trinket for the whole time. That doesn't happen anymore. Your gear resets every single season. You have to go and regrind the same thing. And by the way, if you go back to Legion, if you go back to Shadowlands, guess what? You had to do the same Mythic Plus dungeons the entire expansion. Your ass was going back to get that same trinket every season to get the new item level of it.
Yeah, but the thing is items and gear. That's one level that everybody knows they're going to have to redo. They know they have to redo it. I'm going to go, you want me to invest not just one set, because you have on one hand gear, item levels. You can say the same thing about levels at your point, right? You have to re-get up levels. Oh god, hold on. I was at the WWE event. Be nice, guys. All right. By the way, Max, I don't know why you're donating. I can see your messages. I'm in the middle of a hot debate, Max. Thank you for the $5, though. Appreciate it. Swear on my life, if we don't get more likes on this stream, I will crash out when I get back. Much love. Thank you, buddy. I love you so much. Appreciate the love and support. You don't have to donate $5, though. I hope I can see your message. Anyways, I will say, I do agree with your point. Like, sure, you have new things to do every expansion, but that's part of the expansion feature. Talking about investing even more, because you have items, got to invest time in progressing. Levels, obviously, you got to invest time in progressing. And then you have the seasonal aspects like Mythic Plus or a brand new raid tier. There's already, that's just 4 right there. Why would you want to add more to that? Why would you want to add on top of that and pile it up to where it's like Diablo, to where you're grinding out all these bullshit features that no one actually wants to do? Who wants to do Torghast? Yeah. I was done after 2 weeks of Torghast.
Okay, so
I was
you're gonna
bored.
bring up the absolute worst version of borrowed power now, right? You're gonna bring up the covenants. Sure. I mean, listen, that's fine. But let's talk about borrowed power at its best.
Does World of Warcraft need Torghast?
No, it doesn't. But it
does.
It? I think in Midnight or the Last Titan, we need an artifact-like system to come back. 1,000%. After thinking about it all day, we actually need this back.
No.
A couple of reasons why. One, it's badass to feel powerful. When you juice that shit all the way up, you feel like a god. I remember how good my Shadow Priest felt at Legion when I got it all filled up to the top and I had all my artifact traits. I had my legendaries. I had it all. And I would go into raid and I'd pop that Surrender to Madness and be in void form for 3, 4, 5 minutes. Yeah, that's the entire fight.
That's fun, right?
And I'm moving, boom, boom,
it's
boom.
Fun.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, what about when it's gone? When it's gone, how did it feel then, Lance?
Yeah, but that's every expansion.
Yeah, no.
That's every expansion.
Because your rotations can stay similar. Your talent points can stay similar. Your gear power can stay similar.
No.
Having the difference between corruption and BFA, where it amps you up 15-20%.
Yeah.
And then you instantly drop, and then you're feeling different spell effects. That's why if hero talent trees are, or if they're not, which I hope they do expand upon it, if they're a one and done thing, it will be a horrible feeling to go into a new expansion, have no hero talents, and then be like, hey, that was just a War Within thing. Good luck. I would be fuming. And by the way, that would be borrowed power if they did that, and that took 0 time to do. That took 0. And that changed your gameplay style. Same thing with artifacts. Artifact changed your gameplay style. What about... Did they have anything in Mob for borrowed power?
The legendary cloak.
That doesn't really count.
In BFA,
BFA they had the... Oh my god, in BFA, if you didn't do it properly, you were packed up. You had to get the right Azurite traits. And sure, it was cool when you actually got it. But you want to talk about pigeonholing? Borrowed power shoves you into pigeon-held content, features, and making you feel burnt out. That's what borrowed power does. Borrowed power, it means I'm taking your time, and I'm going to borrow your time and shove it into the goddamn void, because in 6 to 12 months from now, you're literally never going to get it back, and it's dissipated into nothing.
Yeah, but that's every expansion, no matter what. At the end of the War Within, no matter what happens when we're leveling, by the time you hit 89 and you're about to be 90 going into Midnight, you're going to feel like shit.
Yeah, but don't you want to limit that as much as possible?
No.
And keep evergreen?
For those 10 levels where you feel like shit, I'm okay with it if it means I get to feel like a god for 6 months at the end of an expansion.
I don't want to invest 2, 3, 4 hours a week toward a system that I have to do. That is the opposite of what I want.
But for most of it, you could just do what you were going to do anyway. It's not like we're one of the high-end players that has to sit there and, for instance, in BFA, grind islands for 12 hours a day. You didn't have to do that.
Yeah, but then there are some systems where you literally have to do. A reason why so many people are terrified of Horrific Visions is because they were so overly broken tuned, you literally had to do them. It was a chore. Shadowlands was full of them.
But once again, you're taking the worst. You're taking the worst
BFA,
version of borrowed power.
BFA and Shadowlands. Those were my mains one. Sure. BFA and Shadowlands are the main ones.
When you have the team working very well and you get the best of borrowed power, you get artifact weapons. The team is not what it was back in BFA, and you definitely can't compare to Shadowlands where they finished that expansion during a fucking pandemic. You can't. They didn't have time to finish it. They delayed the expansion for the first time I ever remember.
Yeah.
The expansion wasn't ready. That's why we had a 9-month season 1. Legion at its best. Legion was the best expansion ever. There was never a better one.
In totality?
Yes, in totality, Legion is the greatest expansion ever. Is it my favorite? No, that's TBC. But the best expansion they have ever made is Legion, period. And a lot of it has to do with little girl here.
Legion was good, I will say, but did the borrowed power make Legion good, though? I will say
Artifacts were a huge part
artifact
of it.
weapons were an awesome system. But what was great about artifacts is that after you fleshed out your entire talent tree, it was pretty minuscule post that. Does that make sense? So, like, upgrading your traits after that, it was still minuscule DPS increase percentage.
Yes.
So unless you were a major sweat lord, it didn't matter that much. And that's the point that I like.
That's good.
I like that form of borrow power where it's relatively straightforward getting it. And then after that barrier, it's incremental by very small margins. Like, everyone can do this much. Like, for example, and I hate to keep bringing up Shadowlands in Battle for Azeroth, it was so toxic that you had to keep on doing that shit over and over again if you got a new piece of gear, or if you wanted to change your legendary build because the meta just swapped. You had to go farm out all those goddamn ashes and put it into a piece of gear week in and week out, and it felt horrible. It was absolutely horrible. Azerite or artifact weapons and the whole what was it? Artifact power. The system was great, I will admit, but also the legendary system from Legion was horrible. Not only was it hella RNG and technically borrowed power because a lot of those passives and everything we never kept. Not only is it that, it's super RNG, it's shit that got deleted, and you had to pray to grind and get it over and over again. Week in and week out, you're hoping for that specific drop. And by the way, it could also drop at a shittier item level than it could potentially hit with, like, I think it was like Titan. What was it called? There was like different ranks. It was like
Titan Forging?
Was it Titan? It was like Titan something,
Titan
where
Forging.
it would be like 3, 6, 9, 12 item levels
Gear,
higher,
your gear could Titan
randomly
Forge.
RNG. I hated that shit. Awful. Absolutely awful. Ladies and gentlemen, what do you guys think as of right now in this debate? Does World of Warcraft need borrowed power? What do you think is going on in this argument? Whose side are you taking more? What's the discussion going on? I'm dying to hear some of your points. Let's dive into some of the discussion from
thing.
you guys in a second.
You remember your artifact weapon 8 years later.
Love
Everyone
it.
still remembers it.
Love it. Sure.
You remember your boots you got from last season? Remember name me any item besides maybe your trinkets you got last
season. Besides trinket,
besides your trinket,
can only name
one.
One. It's the fist weapon that I got from Raid.
Oh, the epic fist weapon. That's
That's
very
the
the
only
very
one
rare
that
fist weapon.
if we can't talk about trinkets, if we're talking about weapons, I can only remember the
Not
fist
very
weapon
memorable,
from
huh?
Nurabar Palace. Memorable. Are gear drops in retail memorable other than trinkets? No, they're not.
I mean, my weapons every season are crafted weapons. By
They're
the
not.
way, I'm using the same 2 weapons I used last season that I crafted. And they're not very fun. Slap my ascendants on
A
there.
permanent borrowed power.
Well, then it's not borrowed, but yeah, I think if you can't spam artifact weapons every expansion. And Trojan actually made a very good point. How do you avoid power creep if you don't have borrowed power?
T-Boy says, I like the idea of artifact weapons, still like the idea that you can get a weapon and continue to build on it. Outside that, I'm not a fan of borrowed power. More downsides than upsides, says Arkman. Scott Wilson, how would weapons and gear that grow with you as you level or increase it with our professions, which should carry over from expansion to expansion?
Problem is, if they do that, then you're just gonna...
Yeah,
your
you're
character
literally...
ends up being a god from the very start.
I don't know. But I think maybe it scales down the second it starts. Yeah, items lack personality these days. I absolutely agree. That is an excellent point. I will give him that. Professions turned out to be separate game and gold dump. Professions are a lot of fun now. I love professions now. Permanent borrow power is just
power. Exactly.
Honestly, I can't say because I never played during an artifact power season. I started playing during Dragonflame Season 3. Holy shit, that's insane. Other than Transmog, nothing that drops is memorable. Wow, yeah, Transmog is
it's true.
very memorable. I love getting those juicy, juicy Mog drops. I'm not going to lie. I will say one thing in retail that I really, man, and you know what really messes it up is the whole stats system. The critical strike, haste, mastery. Like, not everyone's chasing unless it's trinkets, obviously, because trinkets are or neck pieces. There are some neck pieces that are generally just amazing for most classes. Nothing is really memorable. All armor it's just, you don't remember it by the name or what it does.
Remember by the stats.
You remember by the stats that it has, exactly. I know that in Cinderbrew, there's a haste mastery neck in there right now that I can go try to farm. Like, I know that. I know in Priory, there's a nasty trinket I can try to go farm.
Yeah.
Like, I just know that. Like, I know what the effects of it are. I don't, like, the trinkets are very memorable. I know the name of a lot of good trinkets in the game right now. But I can't name you one single piece of armor in the game right now that is memorable.
The stats are too cookie cutter. They're just too cookie cutter.
I could agree. Hard to say because everything is replaced easily by a different season at this point. Not even expansion
True,
differences.
100%.
Interesting. I will say, Lance, you made some good points here. But right now, as of this moment, the audience is deciding right now, and ladies and gentlemen, you got to let us know about it in the comment section below if you're watching this on YouTube, that World of Warcraft does not, at the moment, need a borrowed power system. I will say, like, obviously the cards are stacked against you here. Technically, even the gear is borrowed because of how fast it disappears now. Yeah, that was what Lance was, one of his major points was that is that gear is, it's like, what's the difference between, you know, you go into a new season, that's a borrowed power. Like, gear could technically be said as a borrowed power, but my point is you, like, there's always borrowed power in any game for the most part, and if not, then your game's just gonna die, right? If there's an end game and that's it, you're the best of the best, it will die. It doesn't matter who you are, what your game you're making. The point is that you want to limit the amount of borrowed power as much as possible. And if you do have borrowed power, the best systems that we've seen that they've done in history, most people have access to them, and then there are only incremental increases post that only the Sweat Lords will really try to gain, and it's incremental percentage damage increases, healing, tanking capabilities, etc. Like they did with the Legion artifact weapon, like they did with definitely not the Shadowlands shit. That shit was whack. Did they do a borrow power system in Dragonflight? I don't remember.
No.
No, right?
Nope. Right now we're in the era of
no borrowed power.
No borrowed power, yeah.
Season 1 heroics were replaced by Season 2 veteran gear easily. That is true. That is true. Borrowed power is a temporal change, so make it fluent, and then they keep the stuff they liked or were received well. The idea is not bad. It's just about the grind that goes. Yeah.
Yeah. You need a god-killing weapon to kill a god. Look at Gore. Yeah, the God Butcher did need a good god-killing weapon. You ain't wrong, Bubba.
You're right about that. Damn. So I would say at the moment, Lance, sadly,
looks like I'm 0-1 on the hot take debate.
Lost this debate. But ladies and gentlemen, it's time to stop talking about us. Stop talking about the game. Time to dive into you all. Hey, welcome to Mailbox Mayhem, where we pull the wildest YouTube comments and live chat messages from you all. The takes are hot, the questions are questionable, but yes, Lance reads all of them. Now, let's dive into the mailbox. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to dive into the Mailbox Mayhem. You heard the freaking intro, man. I'm not going to double up on what it says. We're diving into your comments from the YouTube videos, live chat, and breakdowns this week. The very first one, this is a great one. Lance, absolutely, it was mandatory that I put this one on the list. The very first comment is, World of Warcraft is dead. There's more bot accounts than real accounts. And that video game is the definition of dead internet theory. Ladies and gentlemen, what do you guys think about that so far? World of Warcraft is dead, and there's more bot accounts than real accounts. Any ideas? Any thoughts here?
Yikes. I mean, I don't even know what to say about that, right? I mean, God, where do I start? What an idiotic take, huh? You know, I don't know.
More bot accounts? What am I even hearing? It's not dead. Ladies and gentlemen, I gotta hear your thoughts. This is so crucial
Can
here.
confirm I am a bot.
This whole segment is to talk with you guys in discussion on some of the major comments that we're highlighting. So if you're in this chat, you gotta do your job and participate with us here. This is all about you guys. So, is World of Warcraft more bots than real players? Immediately, I can say no. It's obviously not. How can a game have millions of active subs and have more bots? The math ain't math. It's not really adding up.
If they made $19 million on that amount, I think they have a lot of subs going on that aren't bots.
Fantastic. He says, I do not agree. Maybe in Classic. Yeah, now listen, I had an argument about that too, and I wanted to transition. Classic is a way better incentive to have bots. Now, why, Lance? Why would Classic have a better incentive to have bots?
Well, because per gold is worth more monetarily.
Okay. Right? But more than gold, time.
Yeah.
You spend 2, 3, 4 hours in Classic, you really don't get that much done. You can run a couple dungeons max in Classic in 2, 3, 4 hours, and you're done for the day easily. Yep. And that's you playing a good amount a day. I don't play 4 hours a day, not even close. I'm lucky if I get an hour or two.
I play 4 hours a week.
Yeah. So it's not about gold with bot incentive in Classic. If it's actually a time thing. No one wants to spend time playing Classic, so they buy gold from who provides gold? Bots. Bots provide gold. So it's a higher incentive. In retail, it's the opposite. The time efficiency per hour per reward in retail is it's the highest it's ever been in World of Warcraft history. It is the most efficient time to play World of Warcraft on a per minute, hour basis, whatever it may have.
Yeah.
You get more gear than ever. You level up faster than ever. It's more efficient, and you get into the fun faster, which really, they're really honing in and diving and embracing that seasonal aspect. So they're trying to get us to play more alts, warbound system, percentage level up increases, delves. Like, they want us playing more characters in a time basis. Really, really interesting point here. Classic is no flying farming, or is a lot more cumbersome, and it's time versus money, and
100%.
Time will always win. That is an amazing point, T-Boy.
Not only that, the Classic player base, like all WoW players, are middle-aged, and they don't have that time, and they have disposable income. $20 a week. Honestly, if you play WoW on a Friday night and you just put $20 that you'd spend on beer into gold, you're golden. Like, you're golden.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I mean,
I remember the first time, Lance, I ever...
Don't say what I think you're going to say.
No. I'm not talking about buying gold. I'm not talking about that. I'm saying I ever found out gold buying was an actual thing, and a lot of people doing it. It was back in, like, 2019, 2020. Back then, I had a paladin. He had a bunch of AoE farming gear, and I would spend hours a day, because that was during COVID. Settle down. I would spend hours a day AoE grinding, hours, and getting maybe 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 gold, somewhere around there. And then one of my guildies was like, yo, you're actually farming gold? He's like, are you psycho? He's like, bro, I spent $10 and I have gold for 2 months. I'm like, what? I'm like, wait, are you serious? I'm like, I thought you'd get banned for that shit. I was terrified of even thinking about buying gold.
Do you remember the amount of people in our guild that were buying gold in TBC?
What do you mean? Everyone was.
Everyone, me and you were saying we didn't buy. They literally
said
when we were trolling.
When we were out duo farming primals and recipes and mats, looking like idiots. You're like, yo, you're trolling. You're a meme.
That was insane.
So WoW is dead. There's more bot accounts and real accounts. That video game's the definition of dead history. By the way, we have the minimum, next 3, 4, 5, 6 expansions leveled out. So I'll see you next time, buddy. The next comment is, the only thing I'm excited about is Legion Remix. Ladies and gentlemen, let me know what you guys think. Legion Remix hype in the comments. Let's hear it.
Yeah, I just went on a tangent a couple of minutes ago how I said that's the best expansion ever.
Yeah, why?
I'm definitely hype for Legion Remix.
Yeah, Legion Remix is great.
The zones are good. I get to go to my wonderful, beautiful Suramar that you and I am sure we love so much.
Oh, that's going to be nice.
We get to raid one of my favorite raids ever in the Nighthold. Woo! Can't wait to get back there. Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm very excited. If I wasn't enjoying the expansion right now, I would probably be in the same boat as him.
Mage Tower Bear Form, Valkyrian says, yeah, Mage Towers. I hope they bring back those old, like, Mage Tower artifact appearances that you can't get anymore. There's an assassination. There's an assassination rogue one that is so goddamn cool, and it breaks my heart. I think it's the one with the vial in the middle of the dagger, the poison vial. Oh, daddy, you want to talk about sick? Yeah, absolutely epic, man. Mr. Salted says, I'm a hunter and I sell Dark Moon tribute pubs.
I knew a bot in my guild in Classic that used to sell those 24 hours a day, actually.
Yeah, what was his name? I know who you're talking about. He literally said, I'm a bot. This is a bot account. Like,
no, he would also say,
his little brother's
the reason
playing.
I play for 24 hours, we take turns.
Yeah, bullshit. My ass. You really take turns both doing Dark Moon? Yeah, you're a liar. Anyways, hard part for me is I maxed out all my classes in Mop Remix. Yo, yeah, but it's Legion Remix now. You know,
so delete the ones you don't play and make some new ones, baby.
Yeah. I'm so excited. I'm gonna get a priest up, a hunter, but I'm gonna play Warlock for sure. I'm excited.
But you have a lot of transmog to get for your Warlock.
I hope they still introduce the
class mounts,
the class halls.
Oh, they're.
I hope they still keep that in the story and everything.
What I'm hoping is so that artifacts don't feel like shit. Is instead of your gems going in your gear, you're just powering up your artifact. So that way that feels good.
That would be so cool.
And then in your gear, it's just so much better stats.
I'm going to be honest. In Mop Remix, I didn't like the gem shit. It annoyed me. It was a chore. It was annoying.
I'm okay with them adding the gems, but...
We need more power, David Kim says.
I'd rather them go into the artifact.
Okay, moving on to the next comment here. Legion Remix is hype, of course. Next comment is, it's been really nice lately in the War Within. I'm able to log in, do my 4 keys, my 3 delves, and my 1 raid night every week, and still progress. I could keep playing while also being able to still play Classic. I hate the Goblin theme and Undermine of the season, though, but I love being able to ignore that and still gear up and play. Wow. Wow. And
While not falling behind and playing Classic with my kids.
That's right.
Which... That's the coolest thing ever. I hope I get to do that with my son in about 5 years.
Absolutely insane. And it's true, man. Like we were talking about earlier in the show. I mean, it's the easiest time in World of Warcraft history to choose what you want. The whole pigeon holding take is such a terrible take. It almost makes me cringe because retail WoW is the most free, fluid game you can play as an MMO right now. You don't have to do anything. You can literally log in, and by the way, soon... Wait till they add player housing. You can literally log in and just farm transmogs. Yeah. You can log in and just go fish. You can log in and just grind Mythic Plus. You can log in and just grind Delves. You can log in and just raid. You don't need to do anything. You can do whatever you want. Yep. Obviously, that's the case in any MMO. But if you're looking to
there's options, though. There's going to be
there's options. And if you're looking to progress in the end game, there's more options and it's more efficient than ever.
Actually, do you know the amount of content creators who literally do not play the current expansion and they'll get to max level just so they could farm the previous expansion faster?
Wow.
To get all of the just to like 100%.
That's crazy. You can just grind transmog and mounts if you want. Yeah, exactly. Wow, the Goblin hate killed the stream. I love the Goblin. The Undermine in the zone, I love Goblins.
I mean, my Warlock's a Goblin and will be
This
forever.
man just did a freaking lore take on Renzik, all right? but no, for sure. I agree with him. Not a fan of the Goblin thing, but you could just do whatever instead. Yeah, you literally don't have to step in the Undermine if you don't want to. By the way, you don't have to be in Dornogal. You don't have to be in Dornogal if you don't want to. You can actually just take
that's a great city
Undermine.
Too.
No, I agree, but absolutely amazing take there. This comment... I love this. Ladies and gentlemen, listen up. This comment says by Zarabiel. Says, too little, too late. Retail's forever lost, and Classic has a very finite time frame.
This was one of my favorites. I don't remember if I sent you the one that was...
Is it finite or...
Finite.
It's finite, right?
This is such a brain dead take. First off, Classic is infinite, actually, because nostalgia will always be there. Not only for the people who played it in 2004, but now there's going to be new nostalgia for people who just started playing it in 2019. For instance, our good friend of the channel, Hello J Tello, started playing Classic and World of Warcraft as a whole in 2019, and he talks as if It's the good old days of 2019.
That's what I'm saying.
No, Classic alone is for infinite.
Infinite, yeah.
Let alone retail. They could just keep releasing Classic versions of every expansion forever. WoW,
That's hype.
as an IP, will never die.
Never.
For this guy to say it's too little too late.
Too little too late. It's the #1 MMORPG on the
I think
planet.
he was hit on the head.
It's the #1. It has the most subscribers. It has the most set and planned. It just got picked up by freaking Microsoft. World of Warcraft is not going anywhere. WoW is not going anywhere. There's nothing that's going to change that.
No, and it's not at listen, it's definitely not at its peak and its heyday like it was in 2008 in Wrath.
Man.
But
well, yeah, but that's just the
doesn't
audience
need
has
to be.
changed. The audience has changed. It's been the #1 MMO since 2004.
Yeah,
absolutely. Dude, once again, do you guys know how hard it is to be #1 for 20 years at something? And we're talking about not just #1 in like your state or some bullshit. We're talking about #1 in the world where everybody wants your spot. Everybody wants your head. You're on top for 20 plus years. And by the way, it doesn't even look like it's coming close to coming down because Riot MMO just got hella delayed. No one even knows if that's going to happen. They put that on the back burner.
Indefinite delay.
That's crazy. Ashes of Creation is a freaking bozoville. That game ain't coming out minimum. By the way, minimum, they even said 4, 5, 6 years, by the way. That game ain't never coming up. Big scam, big scam. Can I get scams in the chat for Ashes of Creation? Big scam. Man, I should have had that comment from the other day I had with that guy talking about that game. That was funny. Let me get some big scams in the chat for Ashes of Creation, but this game ain't going nowhere, bro. MMO, when it comes to the MMO space and being one of the largest games on the planet, World of Warcraft will always, 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 always be there. There's too much funding. There's too many skilled developers and people on it, and they already have a set plan moving forward. Moving forward. Lance, you want to take this one?
Yeah, I really like how you described it. We get a lot of options so we can gear up however we want. Min-maxers will always min-max, but for more casual players, you can just do what you like and still reach your end goal eventually. I mean, that's just a testament to how good the game is for the casual players. And you know what? I've also seen a lot of comments of people attacking the casual player base.
So lame.
Those people are fools.
So lame.
Those people are fools. I don't know if you know this, but the people who keep the lights on are not the hardcore players, Bubba.
Who is it, Lance? Who keeps the lights on for World of Warcraft?
And this is, listen, the amount of players that you'll queue into, when I'm not saying this because all casuals are bad, but who are just not good at the game, and they are probably clicking their abilities, and they are just oblivious to everything, is staggering.
Yeah.
That's the majority of the player base. They don't watch YouTube videos. They don't look at Wowhead. They log. There's people who don't even know when a new expansion's coming out. They just log in and they get a thing from Blizzard to buy it now.
That's crazy. By the way, there's people who don't even know what Wowhead
And yeah, they're still having fun. Guess what? They're probably having more fun than you and I.
Shit, you're probably right. That's a great take, Chris. Holy, and you're right. They probably are.
Yeah.
All that outside noise is gone, and they're casual, and they're chilling. They don't have Raider.io checking their score. They don't care about their Mythic Plus score compared to everyone else. They don't care if they're rating Mythic or clearing Heroic fast. They're enjoying the game because they want to enjoy it casually and chill out. And that's the best way to play World of Warcraft. And by the way, that's absolutely the best way to play retail. I love Classic to death. I love SOD. I love Classic. I love TBC, the whole nine. But those games, it's a lot harder to be casual than retail. It is infinitely harder. Unless you got hella time to play. It is much harder. Significantly
unless you're
harder.
Okay with leveling taking 3-4 months.
Just playing the damn game. Yeah, Chris, exactly. Every MMO has tried to be the MMO killer and has failed. Yeah, as usual. Everyone's always the MMO killer, but they're not at the end of the day. Yeah, it's true. I had a really great time on it too, but it ended up being so worse than hyped. Oh, are you talking about New World? Yeah, New World, man, New World. Yeah, that's a big disappointment. But yeah, no, WoW was kicking butt right now, I'm not gonna lie. They finally figured out solo players are just as important as raid and dungeon players. About damn time.
Oh, just like we were just talking
So
about.
yeah, feeding into that casual player base.
Yep.
They keep the lights on. They know what they're doing. They're gonna give them delves, make it more accessible to get some of the best gear in the game. Make it easier to progress through Mythic Plus, through tiers 2 through 6, 7, 8, 9, whatever the case may be. You know what I mean? They have follower dungeon type shit now. I will say, once again, they need to do a significantly better job at teaching players on how to do things. I don't know why it's my job as a content creator to make a guide every time a patch comes out on what to do and how to do it. I like doing those videos, but it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be my job. I respect what you guys do, but I play casually. It is WoW on my time, and most casuals like myself are sub, never lapse. And even if we do not play for weeks,
yeah, I mean,
bingo.
And that's I don't have stats on this obviously, but I think that's the majority of the player base. They just play. It's probably a lot of people who are older guys and girls who log in, play the game on their time. Yeah. In the way they like it, and that's it.
I agree. Moving on, next comment. Boom. It feels like we're in a really good spot. I really like the ability to play with other characters and get them geared with 100 hours spent. Once again, really
same theme.
I mean, with alternate characters, you go from you hit max level. Okay, I'm gonna do my weeklies. Those weeklies give you keys. You go right into delves. After delves, you can start some mythic zeros or heroic dungeons. You can go LFR. You can start normal raid, which, by the way, is very friendly to new players.
Who knows about this the most right now?
Max.
Yeah. He's been playing the game for 3 weeks. I think he's leveled 27 characters.
That's insane. He says, oh yeah, when I first got into WoW back in Dragonlight Season 3, I didn't even know what a heroic dungeon was. I met someone from a random Discord who taught me what it was and Mythic Plus were. Wow.
That's awesome.
Wow. I mean, yeah, they got to do so much better. Max needs help. Max needs mental help for sure. Absolutely. Another comment is, actually, you know what? Lance, take this one.
I'm so late on this game, but always found it interesting. I played some RuneScape growing up and really enjoyed the quest and the grind. My question is it too late to play WoW? Is there another game coming out similar?
Is it too late to play World of Warcraft? That's crazy, David. Is it too late to play World of Warcraft, ladies and gentlemen? You got to let me know. Do you think it's too late to dive into WoW? By the way, Lance, if you were talking to a player for the first time and they said, hey, I want to play World of Warcraft and I've never played it before, what game would you recommend them?
Me?
Yeah.
I would say retail.
You would say retail?
Yeah.
Shit, that's a hot take debate topic for next week.
I mean, I think that's a little bit harder to get into than classic, but I think for people, unless you have friends playing with you or nostalgia for classic already, I don't think a lot of people will like it. Like, just jumping into classic without knowing people or having previously played back in the day, I don't think they would enjoy it that much. Honest to God. I think retail, you have a better chance of enjoying it more if you don't know anyone and you're solo. I thoroughly believe that. Sure, you might have to look up some YouTube videos to know what the hell's going on. But I think if you could figure that out and you're okay with looking up some videos, I think it's the better game to get into.
I mean, I do agree. I will say classic is very A, B, C, D. Take your character, you get a quest, you kill it. Easy breezy.
More so than that, it's a little bit too rigid in its design for the modern
Wait a second,
player base.
Great question. Hey, I'm going through your videos right now. I've had so many questions about getting to the mid game. I've been playing around 4 weeks total ever. Here it is, look. And I'm at gear level 626 and feel stuck. I just started playing WoW for the first time about 4 weeks ago, and retail, in my opinion, is better. Classic isn't as good as people think. Holy shit.
Yeah.
999 World.
Perfect timing for that 999 World.
By the way, cool insane name with the Juice WRLD thing there. But I have 3 guides for gearing this season that I put out that really point you in the right direction, especially that solo leveling one. I think it gives you an exact, at the very end of the video, like a to-do list on what to do, I think.
Yeah, it does.
You have to check that video out. It's one of my favorite videos I've ever done because I don't do them often. I only do them once a season, but absolutely check those out. It'll give you a step-by-step guide on how to gear up solo as efficiently as possible. It'll break down everything. One about getting the gilded stashes, and I'm going to apply it tonight. Yeah, definitely get those bountiful keys. Try your best to clear out those tier 11s. It's going to be difficult if you're, first time playing the game. Get those delves
Maybe you want to invite him to the guild?
Yeah, shit. Juice WRLD, let's get you in the guild. Are you in the Discord server? You got to hop in the Discord server. We have a guild. We have like 50, 60 people on every single night. They could sort of guide you and help you. and even group up with you. So if you're interested in joining the guild, click the Discord link in the description, or someone, if you can, link the Discord link. I think people get lost with MMOs, and I think they have 0 to 100 it,
100%.
and then get burnt out or lost when they hit a wall. Enjoy the time you're in.
You know, that's so freaking true, man. And you know what's really helped me realize that is having Atlas. Having him made me realize that I don't need to rush anything. Guess what? The game's not going anywhere. And if you actually even if you play very casually, and I mean very casually throughout the season, you'll get there.
What do you mean? Bro,
you'll get there. As a matter of fact, we took a few-week break.
Yeah, I created a warlock maybe a month out from the new patch, and I got everything I wanted done incredibly casually. Like, I found out your channel about 20 minutes ago, and I've learned a lot. Oh, wow, that's awesome, dude. I'm glad you're enjoying the channel. I'm glad you joined our show. By the way, this is our show we do every Wednesday night. Do it once a week. It's packed. If you're interested, I promise it's a really fun and entertaining show if you like World of Warcraft stuff. I was able to get to 626 on 2 characters without endgame. Yeah, I mean, you got to just watch those videos. Like, you want to know what to do? Watch those videos.
Elves are your friend. Elves are your friend.
Like, I have them saved sometimes because I get a little bit lost. But those are all the comments. Let me go back to the duo screen here. Lance, do you have anything else you want to touch up on or dive into?
Yeah, I just want to say this was, I really want to take a minute, guys, to thank Sky for the amount of work he has put in the last week to get all of this set up. I don't know if you guys understand the amount of time and effort it took to make all of those animations, to get these segments set up, to come up with I mean, we spent hours, you and I, just brainstorming the ideas for these segments, let alone you making the animations, making the little intro videos for them all. Absolutely. It was hours and hours and hours of work, on top of still putting out some pretty decent videos this last week, if I may say so myself. Sky, you are a fucking madman.
Yeah, the last week we were pumping work and content and stuff like that. It was an absolute pleasure to do this, and I'm so glad the show is elevated to where it's at now. And we're gonna be doing this maybe even, you know, a couple times a week, where we have dedicated segments like on Monday, dedicated segments, you know, Wednesday or Saturday, whatever the case may be. But either way, these are going to be a show-based format. By the way, thank you guys for the follows. That's 2 in a row. Appreciate the love. What would really help, guys, if you guys are interested, make sure you like, comment, show someone the video. I mean, money's cool. Obviously, money's cool, but that's, you know, that would be the best way. I want to get more eyes on the show. This is going to be, wow, thank you guys for the follows. Holy shit. Appreciate the love. By the way, if you guys are interested in the Comeback Kids merch, man, we have limited edition merch right now. We're wearing it right now. Comeback Kids, you know, goblin themed for the patch.
You want to play the video for us?
Yeah, we'll play you guys the video for it in just a second. But the merch store is up. We got small, medium, large, and extra large, and extra large. So we have literally all sizes available, and we make it all in-house. Here, check out the ad right here. Okay, the wait is over, ladies and gentlemen. The first official merch drop from the Comeback Kids is here. We've got 2 classics, our clean and bold Comeback Kids logos, but we also got the real deal. Our very first limited edition, exclusive one-time drop, the Retro Goblin Comeback Kids design. And once this shirt is gone, it's gone for good. Don't wait too long, because we don't want you missing out. Hit the link in the description below to head on over to the site and grab your merch to rep the Comeback Kids in style today. Yeah, I'm going to get you guys the Discord link right now, by the way. Oh, shit. Yeah, I can't. I have streamer mode on. Sorry. We're going to post it right now for you guys right now. You guys get it in the Discord, get in the guild, all that fun stuff. If you guys are interested, man, check out those shirts. We're limited edition. We have, I think, about 20-ish left before they're literally sold out. They're never coming back. These shirts right here, limited edition Goblin shirts. We sold, I think, 30 as of just the other day, with the new extra large t-shirts getting designed or imported, whatever. Just printed a couple. By the way, we have a couple to print. I believe tomorrow's when the new design comes in. We have 2 more to print, so we are behind. 1 Goblin and 1, the basic Comeback Kids one, right? Yep. Yeah, so we have another 2 to post. So if you guys are interested, man, go check it out. I promise you guys will not be disappointed with that. Anyways, for that, when it comes to the Comeback City show, I really, really appreciate you guys tuning in tonight. Once again, we will be live every Wednesday night with this show, segments, and we're going to add a couple more for next week as well.
Oh, yeah.
We might have to tighten up the show. We have a new one with me when it comes to, tier list and ranking some classes, and then a couple other ones, which we'll dive into. But it's going to be awesome, man. Lance, did you have a good time?
Man, I was really nervous before we started this.
For sure.
It's just so much prep work that we did the last week, especially you, but I'm really, I think there's some things we should probably clean up and work out, but I think it went pretty good, man.
Yeah, I would say for a first time show with live animations, live everything, it's a lot. It's very different from just, getting the edit together and posting. You got to do it live in front of everyone. We just went 2 hours straight. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys enjoyed the new format, let's get some ones in the chat. Thanks, Nerdy, by the way, for the love. Appreciate it. Let's get some ones in the chat, man. Let's get something. Let's show some love to the Comeback City World of Warcraft show we're going to be doing weekly. By the way, we are going to probably be... I want to do a couple episodes a week to maybe grow it a little bit better, but we'll see. You know what I mean? By the way, 999 World, David Kim, Towley, Mr. Salton, Nerdy, Wands, Valkyrian, Chris. Thank you guys so much, man. Really, really appreciate all the love and support. That was another banger, dude. Another banger. First episode down. We'll keep you guys updated on what's going on this week. And I guess we'll see you guys in the next one, man. Same, Scott. Insane. That's insane. Fuck, that's good.
He doesn't even know the meme. That's insane. I mean,
Yo.
Did you tell him?
No, I don't want to tell him. That's
Scott.
epic.
Listen, Scott.
Nerdy. I told you about that joke in Raid not too long ago. It's a real thing.
Thank you guys so much. Love you all. Appreciate you all. It was awesome being here.
Don't tell me let it live. Hell yeah. Get in the Discord. Let's get you in the guild tonight. 100%. Love you guys so much, man. God bless every single one of you. We'll see you next week.